So easy to get disillusioned by politics and the people running our government these days. We've got a president who consistently dismantles democratic norms. He unjustly punishes his enemies. He attacks longstanding American freedoms. All the while, the Democratic establishment, which should be acting as the opposition party, is struggling to mount a unified defense. Before everybody gets mad at me for saying that, I'm not talking about Democrats, I'm not talking about voters, and I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about the leadership of the Democratic Party at the federal level. And there are some newcomers, by the way, to the party that I think you should pay attention to. In fact, Bill McKibben was on with me a little while ago. He's a contributor for The New Yorker. He argues that the response to the Trump agenda doesn't lie at the federal level, shouldn't lie at the federal level, but probably at the municipal level. McKibben offers Seattle's Katie Wilson as one of the examples he cites. She's running for mayor of Seattle. Her message of affordability is resonating with the base, a base that is eager for a solution-based message that speaks to the problems that everyday Americans face. Wilson got her start as an activist, finding her sea legs in politics by creating Seattle's Transit Rider Union, which secured free bus rides for young people. She's led campaigns that help raise the minimum wage in 3 cities in Washington. And now, there's some parts of Seattle that are in the top 6 highest minimum wages in the country. Wilson is the co-author of the Jumpstart tax bill, which raises taxes not on employees, but on the corporations that pay the heftiest salaries. The bill funds thousands of affordable housing units. Wilson's track record and the policies she's promising as mayor get to the heart of what many Americans truly want and need: being able to afford to live in the city that they're in. Many have compared Wilson to Zohran Mamdani, New York's Democratic mayoral nominee, which she spoke fun at while shopping at the local Goodwill in one of her campaign ads.
A lot of people have been calling me the Zohran Mamdani of Seattle. As we all know, Zohran is charismatic, telegenic, and stylish. I, on the other hand, am deeply awkward, not going to win any beauty pageants, and honestly, I've spent my whole adult life looking really dumpy. Is that too much? But now I'm running for mayor, so I have to make an effort. I feel confident about my policies, but I do not feel confident about my wardrobe. What do I do with this? Is this supposed to be this short? I just feel like it's so short. Pants, okay.
All right, joining me now is the Seattle Democratic mayoral candidate, Katie Wilson. Katie, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Wonderful to be here.
You came through your primary nearly 10 points ahead of the incumbent mayor, Bruce Harrell. Seattle's primary is nonpartisan, so you'll be facing off with Harrell again in November. He's increasing his press events in an effort to, turn the tide. Talk to me about how that process occurred, because when we're talking about New York, we're talking about the same thing. As sort of an outsider making establishment politicians play defense.
Yeah, totally. So I jumped into this race in February of this year. We had a ballot measure to fund Seattle's new social housing developer through a tax on wealthy corporations. And our current mayor was kind of the face of the opposition campaign, which was funded by Amazon, Microsoft, the Chamber of Commerce. Nevertheless, Seattle voters passed it in a landslide. And that really showed me the moment that we're in. We're in a moment where people are struggling, right? The cost of housing, the cost of childcare, the cost of food, everything is so high. And our current city leadership is really out of touch with that. So I jumped in. I've spent my career as a community organizer, a coalition builder, fighting to pass transformative policies that put money in the pockets of working families every single day. And I realized that we were in a moment when that's the kind of energy that people want to see from their elected leaders here in Seattle. So we've run a campaign that is very focused on. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, it's a similar situation here in New York, right, where even Democratic candidates or candidates who are running under the Democratic banner are heavily backed by developers, financiers, financial institutions. This is a problem that people don't realize they don't associate with the Democratic Party, but it's a problem. The Democratic Party gets a lot of big money, and a lot of its decisions are made by big money interests.
That's absolutely true. And I think in a city like Seattle, where we don't really generally elect Republicans, right, it's a very blue city, the spectrum that we have really is between Democrats who are, funded by big business, backed by developers, real estate interests, corporations, and more progressive left Democrats who are, fighting for the people.
Talk to me about the progressive/moderate division. I know Bill McKibben wrote about progressive candidates who are running. I don't know that it matters as much as electing people who will fight the status quo and change things. But you tell me, do you think the Democratic Party's problem is that it's not progressive enough, or that it's just kind of not in some cases meeting the moment?
Honestly, I don't really think of this too much in the context of the Democratic Party. As you mentioned, our races here are nonpartisan, so it's really about are the policies that we're putting forward meeting the needs of the people? And, I come out of a community organization that I helped to found back in 2011, and we've just always been really focused on the issues that people are facing in their everyday lives, whether that's wages that are too low, rents that are too high, housing instability, regressive taxes. Here in Washington state, we have the second most regressive tax system in the whole country, so that, working and poor people are spending far too much of their income in state and local taxes, and public transit, right? Improving our public transit system, making it affordable and accessible for everyone. So my focus has always been on those issues, and often that does put me and the coalitions that I build at odds with some of the powers that be, right? Because if we're going to make our tax system more fair, if we're going to fund the vital public goods that we need, it is going to mean requiring large corporations and the wealthiest people in our city to pay more, and there's going to be resistance to that. So that's the kind of fight that I've had over the years. In that, you're always going to encounter politicians who in Seattle, by default are generally Democrats, who are more aligned with the big business interests and the wealthy interests that are opposing reforms like that.
Katie Wilson, nice to meet you. Thank you for being on our show today. We appreciate your time.